Here's a question for you. Who was your hardest opponent?
There's probably a couple of them. Of course, Edgar, because he was just always there, right? He was always there, no matter what you did. He
Sure.
kept
That's
coming, kept coming. Um, I fought this guy Alexander Yakovlev, and uh, I remember Joe Silva like, yeah, we're gonna give you this guy. It should be an easy, like, it should be easy. Blah blah blah. 6'4", 155-pounder, southpaw, could
wow.
wrestle. Yeah, and I ended up just kind of overtraining and just the flu at the end of the camp, and that was one of those like fights to where I kind of wish I could take it back, but you know, um, other than that, I mean, there wasn't really a person who Diaz, of course.
Sure.
Um, he was one of those guys who was always there, always like high volume punching. And the two times I lost to him was the two times I wasn't mentally prepared to go 3 rounds or 5 rounds, you know, um, to deal like with his pressure. The one time I did beat him, you know, the whole camp, it was cardio, just knowing that I was prepared
Sure.
physically to where I could be there like upstairs, just mentally too, to where it's like I'm good. On the TV show, we had spotty training. It was really tough to train the way that we needed to train.
Well, also, there's no
Um,
film really, I imagine on the show, not as much as you would
yeah,
in normal training camp where,
yeah,
you might think like, hey, I know this Diaz guy is trained
yeah,
by, Cesar Gracie,
yeah,
but you don't know
yeah,
the level he's got.
yeah, yeah. No, we knew it. It just, I was on BJ Penn's team, and it just he was big on trying to teach a lot of technique, but he didn't really grasp how important it was because it was a training camp. That was pretty much the whole show is a training camp. You're fighting. You're not trying to learn, any technique. You're competing like every week, and
Sure.
and it was decent training, but not what I was um, not how I was accustomed to it. You know, and so that was a tough one going in. And then when I fought him on the it was a main event card. I forgot. It was on a
The
TV
Ultimate
show.
Fighter
Like,
finale or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Just really didn't. There was a lot of stuff going on. Kind of personal stuff like remodeling my house and trying to work on that and trying to juggle a new baby and just didn't really. He's and that's a compliment to him, man. You got to be prepared mentally, physically. You got to be ready to compete every second of the whole 3 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever it is.
And honestly, like my favorite fighter of all time is Nick and Nate Diaz. And I think everyone likes him. Like the reason they have this cult following is for the simple
Yeah,
fact that everybody wants to tell their boss, F you, give him the middle
yeah,
finger.
yeah,
They're two of the only guys that would actually do it. Like, Nate Diaz
yeah,
has the famous him slapping Dana White. And they're true to, who they are. But
yeah,
we heard, after Nick got suspended for 5 years for his like umpteenth failed marijuana test, but
yeah,
he was like, I didn't have kids because I wanted to fight. I need to be mentally prepared. So, and again, like you talked about, remodeling your house, juggling a new child, like that stuff. if you're not 100% laser focused, then
Yeah.
killer be killed.
Yeah, you might be able to do that against another guy, but not, not the Diaz's. And I think the Diaz's are going to go down in history more than any other, like any other guys. Connor, anybody, just because they did stand up for what they believe in. They did, you look at Ali.
Sure.
He couldn't compete for a long time just because, he didn't want to go to the army, or he
Yeah.
didn't want to go to the war. He stood up for what he believed in. And I feel Nick and Nate, they're the same way.
Absolutely. And it just, I don't know, like when Nate beat Connor, like I remember that night I was watching with my brother in his basement, and like I remember before the fights happened, like I had a Fitbit on, and like my heart rate was like 130 sitting there because I was so stoked for the fight, man. And
Yeah,
like a lot of times, like I'm nowhere near these guys' level, but like it gets like me emotional is like watching these guys that like have just been there day in and day out, but they
yeah,
haven't got their due yet. And I'm like, if he can knock off Connor, like this dude's gonna get his payday and he's gonna get everything that he deserved. And you always
yeah,
root for those kind of guys. Connor was already there. He was already on, the mountaintop. And when he did it, you're
yeah,
just like even though like I
yeah,
wouldn't say Nate would ever say it's a dream come true, but that
yeah,
made him the rest of his life. You know what I mean? He
yeah,
was financially set. So
yeah,
it's that kind of stuff where I was just like so excited. Like, when he won, it was
yeah,
definitely like one of my favorite MMA moments of like, just
yeah.
watching being gone.
And it's crazy. He was making shit all the way up until that.
Yeah.
The dude would fucking scrap all the best, you know,
But I mean,
and
Dana
put on a show
classically
every
said,
time.
He's not a needle mover like his brother. He can't move
Yeah,
them. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure he, 1.7 million buys for him and Connor too.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
uh,
Like, you might be wrong
yeah.
on that one, buddy.